years said I was born in Russia. I was born in Dallas. Let me continue here. Despite claiming the passages about his birthplace being Kenya was a mistake, the listing still maintained that Obama's birthplace was Kenya until after Obama became a U.S. Senator. Goodrich's statement fails to explain why the fact-checking error persisted in big publications, by the way. I mean, we're talking about Harvard, publications and things. Persisted for 16 years through at least 3 different versions of Jane Driscoll's website and through at least 4 versions of Obama's biography, reports Breitbart.com. The literary agency also updated the text of the 98, but the part about Obama being born in Kenya was retained. You hear that? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, and it just goes on for page after page with video clips of her saying he was born in Kenya. We went back to his homeland of Kenya. Oh yeah, when we go to his homeland where he's from, Kenya, his grandma was like, yeah, he comes from there. He was born in the village right there. By the way, I don't think it's that guy they say looks nothing like him. Somebody else. And of course, the State Department, it turned out, said he was using, his dad was probably not his dad and kicked him out of the country. And then, of course, he has a dead woman's Social Security number from Connecticut. I mean, keep going here. The problem is, did I tell you about the birth certificate where it was fake typewriter, computer font? We even know the name of the font because each typewriter splats like a snowflake or a raindrop, how hard you hit the key, how the ribbon is set, how it hits. Everyone's a different, like a fingerprint. And it was the A's, the C's, the I's, all of them are identical. It's fake. 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 Okay? We're not in Kansas anymore. And only admitting that is going to turn things around. Do you understand that? We're in a lot of trouble here. The government's been compromised not by the Ruskies or the Chi-Coms, but by the bankers. They took over.
I'd seen the longevity.
Excuse me, I'm just sick of them. All right, I apologize to Jon Rappoport. Getting him on a little bit late today. I told him to get him on 30 minutes because we got so much going on. They told him an hour, but he was still able to come on. Investigative journalist. I'm a little bit angry right now at the New World Order. Jon Rappoport's a graduate of Amherst College with a BA in philosophy. He's worked at LA Weekly, national TV. Man, if I go over his bio, we'll never get it done here. His news site is nomorefakenews.com. And again, he's been recommended for the Pulitzer Prize, stuff like that. And he joins us right now where I'm having a meltdown over all the lies. It's really starting to get to me. He's got some big announcements. You've seen private groups estimate hundreds of thousands are killed a year in hospitals and by drugs, and it's one of the most dangerous places to be. We all know that. But he's gone and actually found that they've now admitted on government websites, and he is here to break down this big breaking news with us today. Of course, you also go to the hospital, they spy on you, and if they say you have marijuana in your blood, they'll take your children from you. So be aware of that. These are actual brainwashing prisons. Jon Rappoport, good to have you on with us.
Hey, great to be here, Alex. Yeah, big breaking story. This is 10 years in the making. 100,000 people killed every year by FDA-approved medical drugs. That's 1 million people a decade. That's called murder, in case anybody has any doubt about it. 2 million severe adverse drug reactions every year in the United States. That's 20 million over every decade. We're talking about stroke, heart attack, neurological damage. The studies are there. I've been writing about this, talking about it for 10 years. I said there was a smoking gun. I knew there was. And 2 days ago, I got the tip. I went to the page on the FDA website. You guys have the page now in a screenshot. The FDA cites those figures on their own website. 100,000 deaths every year caused by medical drugs. 2 million severe adverse reactions. 4th leading cause of death in the United States. Actually, it's the 3rd, behind cancer and heart attacks. And there it is on their own website in stark terms. They probably don't even know the page is still there, but it's there. It's captured for all to see. And yet, at the same time, at the same moment, they assume no responsibility or accountability for it. It's like they're talking about something that's happening on the moon, because they're the agency, the only agency in America that can certify a drug as safe and effective, and thereby it gets into the marketplace. Without them saying it's safe, it never would be there. And yet here they are on their own website admitting that the drugs that they call safe are killing genocidally 100,000 people a year.
And by the way, that's a conservative number that they're using. I've seen numbers from different think tanks where it's something like 250,000+ from just bad procedures and infections. And then the number I've seen is over 150,000 just from prescription drugs.
Yeah, there are higher figures, no question about it. Conservative estimate is 225,000 people killed by the medical system every year. The other 120,000 would be from what happens in hospitals.
Hey, I had surgery on my leg to put a pin in it when I was 16. And right as the anesthesiologist comes over and starts doing it, the guy was bombed out of his mind, obviously taking his own sauce. They say about half of them do. I woke up a bunch on the table. I mean, they had like doctors come by and say, well, we tested your blood. You're not on any drugs. You've got an incredible liver. It took 9 times the amount to keep me under. I was like attacking people. This is a true story. Like, they had to strap me down because every time they started sawing into my bone, I woke up. And then at night, my IV fell out. Blood was everywhere. I mean, I've been in the hospital one time. Well, I was in there a couple other times, I guess, with concussions, and barely made it out. That was in Rowlett. We'll be right back. Stay there. Reports, Obama stillborn in Kenya in 2007. Literary references show description in promotion of Dreams of My Father book. Right up into the election. Man, you talk about arrogant. Unbelievable. We're going to try to get Dr. Corsi on this Sunday. I'll be live this Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central. Jon Rappoport, who's done a great job sitting in as a co-host or fill-in host, he's done a wonderful job. Look forward to having him back soon to do that. And I enjoyed hearing him a few months ago when Mike Adams sat in on the Sunday show. Really powerful radio. Now, going back to Jon Rappoport, if you go to his website, nomorefakenews.com, right at the top, it says, hiding in plain view, FDA murdered. And we're going to post it at Infowars.com right now as well to mirror it because it's so important. I'm going to add the flourish if it's all right with him. Or Google gets us with link farm stuff, so I always change the headline a little bit, little inside baseball there. Hidden in plain view, FDA murder of 100,000 a year. That's going to be the InfoWars headline. If I can do that, I'll just ask permission here on air. How's that sound, John?
Absolutely, go for it.
Okay, buddy, you've got the floor. Break down the fact of how they've tried to suppress this. Why do you think suddenly they're having to admit it as the 4th cause of death, as you said, really the 3rd cause of death in the U.S.? This is just, and of course, they say that 1 out of 10 adverse reactions gets reported. That's conservative. Some say it's more like 1 out of 100. So it must be even much worse than that because hospitals are predisposed to cover up what they're doing.
You're absolutely right. The real figure is more like 22 million severe adverse reactions to drugs every year in the United States. So 22 million over a 10-year period, that's 220 million. That means the whole country is under the gun of these people. And they've been hiding these facts for at least 10 years or more. They're not readily admitting to them now, except they've blown the whistle on themselves because we found the web page where they state the facts, the FDA, it's right there. So they can't deny it anymore, and it's even got medical study citations there to back it up. So they're going to be very embarrassed by this. I mean, if you were killing 100,000 people a year by something that you manufactured and you knew about it for at least 10 years, you can't call that anything except first-degree murder. Oh, like Bayer knowingly in over 100 companies for 11 years shipping out Factor 8. They knew had HIV and hepatitis in it and killing tens of thousands and their own execs laughing about it like that? Exactly. Exactly. You see, this isn't accident. It isn't incompetence. It isn't even negligent homicide. It's first-degree murder. That's what it is. Now, there's the Justice Department sitting right down the street from the FDA, okay? 100,000 people dying of medical drugs every year. That's 33 plane crashes in the world towers every year like clockwork, every single year. Now, from one of those crashes, we spent hundreds of billions into the trillions going to war, doing everything that Alex has been documenting all these years. All the Department of Justice has to do is get in a few cars, drive down the street to the FDA building, and say, you're all under arrest for first-degree murder.
Well, they admit almost everybody there is a Monsanto or big pharma or big banker exec. It's a revolving door. It's a total joke.
Exactly. It's a total joke. The amount of collusion involved here is just, staggering, because they know about it. They know what's happening. They absolutely know that the drugs are killing people. In fact, now you want to look at the implications, and this is in my article. Marcia Angel, who was for many years the editor of the New England Journal of Medicine and finally quit. I've got her quote there, and she basically says, I can no longer trust any published studies in medical journals, period. Because look, in order for these drugs to be approved for public use, the pharmaceutical companies that are making them are lying through their teeth over and over again in their clinical trials of the drugs that claim the drugs are safe. And in the published studies that are printed in the medical journals, they're all fraudulent. They're completely lying.
This is huge.
All the time.
And Monsanto, back in the 70s, as you know, was Searle then, and they bought Searle. 3 times tried to get aspartame approved, and they couldn't. So they had Rumsfeld take over as the CEO, change the document, and say that because 20% of the monkeys lived eating aspartame, the babies having it put in their milk, it was okay. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, they feed us a chemical weapon that is causing much of the neurological disorders on record, and now it's in all the sugar gums and most of the candies. They're attacking us. And it's in the Associated Press and other publications. When I heard this months ago, I didn't believe it. Turns out for 12 years, it's been in a bunch of news that the Monsanto engineers, genetic engineers, demanded that no GMO be in their cafeterias at their facilities. I mean, folks, this is off the charts, the level of assault. And now break down why you think they're now admitting this and hiding it in plain view. I guess it's like the devil's got to tell you in the fine print what he's doing. Why do you think they're doing this? You have to make a guesstimation, I know. And then B, because I know you're an expert on this, John, over everything you do. Going back, working for national TV, was it ABC, you name it, all the investigative journalism you've done, tell us why they're doing this. Because I know it's about eugenics, but now they're saying, hey, radiation's fine from DU. Hey, radiation from Fukushima, hundreds of times safe levels, hitting the West Coast, it's safe. People's hair falling out in Alaska where the waters are hitting, the marine life dying, the seals dying, the air traffic controllers, hair falling out, stewardesses' hair falling out. I mean, now we're at a breakdown point is what I'm saying, where it's just like radiation's good, death's good, toxins good, but pay Al Gore money for carbon dioxide plants breathe. I mean, it just seems like the elite themselves have gone completely nuts. Completely nuts.
Absolutely. I think what happened is that some FDA employee who felt conscience-stricken about this whole thing decided that he was going to use the FDA website to show the truth. And he did. And it escaped their attention. And who knows how long this page has actually been hanging there. I mean, it's hanging by a thread as we speak because of the coverage that you've got, Alex. They could be taking this page down right away.
And you have links in your article that are at nomorefakenews.com and now at Infowars.com. Let's put that back on screen, the actual document from the FDA website, guys. Please continue, John. I'm ranting.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so somebody there decided they were going to blow the whistle and escaped everybody's attention. But now what's happening is, I mean, this is chemical warfare against the people. This is, just like you've got canisters of stuff that you're spraying